Hey guys, this is our next project. This is a CM250C Honda, and let's just do a quick walk around so you can kind of get a, well, so you can lay your eyes on the whole thing. We don't have any side covers. It is a 1983 model CM250C. Yeah, well, no side covers. It's a little rough. It's not bad. It is what it be. We have 8,230 miles in this sweetheart, and she don't go. So we're going to see if we can make it go. Got lots of little things that are less than perfect on it, but the first thing is the battery was dead, but I did go ahead and buy a battery for it and got it charged up. Don't know if it's going to stay in this or not, because it'll also fit in my CX500 downstairs. So we're going to try it in this and see if we can get this baby to start. Let's swap out the battery. This is our new battery in here. Looky here, the right hardware. Can you believe it? It's going to be something new and exciting for this bike. We got the key out of the gas cap. I got the gas cap off. The gas tank has been sealed with some cream, of all things. Ooh, we got lights. Headlight even. Woo. All right, let's see if we got spark. And if we do, we'll head straight on into the old carbon trader, and that's a real joy on one of these. Yeah, we got spark. What if we got engine oil now that we're cranking this over and everything? Yeah. All right, one carburetor coming up. Alrighty, first we're going to take the gas tank off. This hose is kinked right here too, so if it ever did run, that's a problem. Well, the petcock works. Yeah, it smells kind of funky. I'm going to go ahead and take the gas line off of the carburetor as well. I don't know if this is much fun to get the carburetor out of. This is a Rebel, which the old Rebels, CMX250s, use this same engine. We'll see if it is as big a joy as it is to take those carbs out. Now we can set that all out of the way. We got one bolt up top to take out to get the gas tank off. Right there. Grab us a wrench to do that with. One gas tank out of the way. And I'd imagine this was going to be just as much fun to get these carbs out of as, yeah, the Rebel. This intake right here is different than the Rebels. It's got the plastic or the rubber molded onto it for the carb, and then it splits off to each cylinder. I don't remember the Rebels being just exactly like that. The CMX250 Rebels, not the newer ones. Out of here, let's get our linkage and stuff off. I'm going to see if this screw will come loose and leave all this linkage in place and just undo it. I'd say it's a 50-50 shot. Get our JIS screwdriver after it here. Oh, goodness. That was easy peasy lemon squeezy. That wasn't so bad. Now then, if we can just get enough slack in this linkage to get this stuff off, I bet I can't. Nope, I don't think so. We're gonna take at least one cable loose anyway. Rats, always a good idea, but Sometimes it just doesn't work out like you plan. We'll loosen this throttle cable off. This is the pull cable. And we'll have enough slack. Get our cable off of there. Then we can run a little bit of slack around the bell crank up on the handlebar to get this one off. There we go. And the throttle, the choke cable is also hooked to this, which we're not going to get enough slack in it either. Rats. All right. We'll just take her loose. Not going to be the time saver we thought it was, but it's all right. Choke cable up and over, get this out of the way. This is certainly not the first time somebody's been inside this sweetheart, but we're going in it as well. All right, our choke hook's on back here. I don't know if you can see that or not, but you probably ought to be able to. There we go. Choke cable's loose. Man, these screws are boogered up on this carburetor. This ought to be a hoot. Bebop around to this side, and we'll take our clamps loose to hold our carbs on. We're going to back this clamp way off so we don't have any interference from it trying to get it out. Got a feeling this boot's going to be pretty darn stiff. So we want to give it every chance we can. And then our back one, going to our air box, is right back here. I'm going to do the same thing with it. I'm going to back it way, way off. Much farther than we think we need to. That ought to do it. Oh yeah, that's going to be a nice little boot. Yeah, I think we're going to take the air box loose and let it slide back as far as it can. So there's a couple of things we got to do here. We got a bolt here, and then we got some on the other side that also hold this in. So we're just going to take it loose and kind of push it back as far as we can. Hey, let's go ahead and see what's inside of here while we're at it, huh? All right, let's go back around the other side and get the rest of our air box loose. I can't remember, but it seems like it's easier to pull the battery out of these to get back in there. So the battery we just put in, it's coming out. Just a matter of time and money. But, you know, on the other hand, isn't it always? Just a matter of time and money. You know, we're not going to need this vent line anymore because we got a newer style battery. So let's get it the heck out of the way. Get rid of that thing. It's really good for getting acid on stuff. Let's go ahead and pop our fuse off here, and then that piece will be free. It really likes to be next to that bolt. Let's fix that. Now then we can get it off. All right, now we can take this clear off. Go ahead and start our nut back on here. Grab our battery out of here. It sits in the side of the air box, so see, that held that end of it. Yep. Remove those. Remove this one. Oh, this should fold around out of the way a bit. Now our air box is a little looser. See if we can get it to slide back a touch off that carburetor. It don't look like much, but that's enough to help. All right, I'm going to get a little pry bar and pop this carburetor back out of here, out of the boot, and see if we can get it out. Now, do not be alarmed. I am not putting a lot of pressure on this. I'm just doing it so it's easy. See if we can get a good bite on it here. Just like so, and I think maybe we'll come out this side. Got a lot of linkages and stuff over here in the way. Got a choke cable or a clutch cable in the way. Let's go ahead and pop it loose and get it out of the way. And I think I'm going to want to come out this side. There we go. Get that up and out of the way. Now then we got a clearer path. See if we can get this sweetheart out of here. Got to clear that boot. I think down's going to be the way to go to get that done. Yeah, maybe. There we go. Well, kinda. That clears that. That clears that. Oh, looky there. Ta-da! All right, we got our top popped off. And that was just this, and it has this slide inside of it. And you can see there's a lot of ring around the needle on this thing. All that brown junk. Now we can flip her over, and it'll set flat, so we can take the bowl off of it. Now I'm going to go ahead and take this off of it. This is just a blank where a decel valve would be, but I just want to get this thing as clean as I can, so I'm going to go ahead and remove it anyway. Like I say, it's just a blank. Otherwise, it'd have an orifice there, and it'd have another hole down in here, and it'd have one right there to meter the vacuum. A high vacuum, this would open, and it'd allow it to get fuel, so it wouldn't pop under decel. But this carburetor does not have that. Let's go take the accelerator pump off. There is a spring under this cover. It's not a horrible, terrible spring. It's just a spring. There it is. This is our accelerator pump. I'm sure it's pretty. It's not crispy. It's just really not flexible. And it should be, but it's not. Take our other bolt out, holding our float bowl on. Yeah, nothing too terrible. I'm going to guess it just died of boredom. There's an O-ring right here for the accelerator pump. You want to make sure you don't lose it. Or find another one if you do. Set him down over there. Everything stays in the blue tray, and then we don't lose as much stuff. That's right. Pull the float out. No, that looks too terrible. Alrighty. I got 3 jets here. There's our pilot or slow speed jet. This is a choke jet, or that's the main. This is a choke jet. Don't confuse the two going back together. They look kind of the same, but one's got a bigger hole. Take out our emulsion tube. This has got a bunch of little bitty holes in it. You want to make sure you get all those clean. One there and a bunch down that side. And then, like I said before, this has a needle jet in it that is separate. You want to make sure you get that out. If you don't, you go to blowing air through it, you'll lose that sucker. And it'll go back together without it, but it won't run good without it. See where our slow speed screw is set? 2.5, 3, a little over 3.5. Now there's still a washer, or there should be, a washer and an O-ring down in there. Let me see if I got something to dig it out with. Well, I really don't have anything to dig it out with, but let's just see if the old wood screw trick will work. Might. Yep, there they are. Actually, I think it was missing the washer because this is just the O-ring. Right there. Yep, there's no washer down in there. Missing the washer. All right, that's about as far down as we tear the carb. Got most everything, all the good out of it. Nothing super dirty, but it sure needed it nonetheless. All right, let's get the Vibratron set up and take it for a ride. We'll just let it do its thing here for about 10 minutes, then we'll pull them back out. All right, we got our carbs all cleaned up. Now we can go back together with it, and everything looks pretty good. Now, one thing I do like to do is spray just a little bit of any kind of lube. This is WD-40, but I like the Bel-Ray 6-in-1 too. And I'm just going to spray this down through the passages. And let that kind of do its thing. It really isn't doing much, so to speak. But what it does do is make me feel lots better about it. Because a lot of times, if there's any moisture left in there and it goes to dry, it'll leave some crud behind. At least that's what I think. You know, what you think may be totally different, I don't know, but I'm the one doing it, so that's what I'm telling you. All right, don't forget to put this in. This is your jet needle. It goes with that side towards the venturi and this side towards the emulsion tube, the rounded side towards the emulsion tube. So it goes in that hole, shoop, like that. I like to chase it with something. That's probably too big. Yep, it is. And kind of push it on down in there. And whenever it's in there, you should be able to see it inside of here. See how it's sticking in down there? That's wonderful. We'll take and put our emulsion tube in afterwards, but we're going to make sure all our holes are clean. And how we're going to do that is going to hold it up to the light, and we're going to look through it. Well, since you're looking down, I'm going to grab a light, put underneath it, and I'll look up through it. That light is too bright. There we go. And I can see through all those little holes. So we know they're clean. He'll also go in there. And we'll screw him down. See if we got a 7mm, which we do have a 7mm. We just go to the office brand we got, the Pittsburgh, and it has it. The Snap-on set didn't have it, the Icon set didn't have it, and neither did the Matco set. None of those had a 7. It's not their fault, I just didn't buy a set that goes down to 7. All right, these two jets look the same, but one's got a bigger hole in it, one's got a smaller hole in it. The bigger is the main jet, and he goes on top of the emulsion tube. This is a choke jet, and he goes right here behind there. Don't confuse them, because it won't run with a poo-poo if you do. We're going to tighten that up. We're going to tighten this one up. You don't have to go crazy tightening them. Just snug them up. That's all they need. And this pilot jet, we're going to do the same thing with it. We're going to shine a light through it. And we can see a nice round hole down in there. But just for safety's sake, or to back it all up, on the pilot jet, I do like to put a little bit of carb cleaner down through it. Just to make sure. And we can see that it's spraying out the other side. This also has a bunch of little holes in it. So we'll take a light, put it underneath it. Don't want a super bright light. And we'll make sure all the holes are visible. And they are. That's the easiest way I found to do that. It goes in the hole that goes off to the side. This screwdriver won't fit in there, but this one will. I'll show you the difference. See how this screwdriver is got where it's raised right here? And this screwdriver is not. This is like a cabinet screwdriver or something like that. That's what they call it. But they make great jet screwdrivers. Tight, tight, tight. So far, so good. Make sure that on your needle jet or on your float needle, there is a little spring on the end of it. Make sure that spring is not hung up. Make sure it's got some springiness to it. Take your float, shake it. Make sure it doesn't feel like there's anything in it. If these fail, they'll get gas in them and then they won't flow at the right level. This one looks okay and it feels okay. So I'm going to put that on there, slide that right down into our little hole there. We'll slide that through there, and then we're going to check our float level. We're going to lift it up on its side, and we're going to see if our float is about the same level as horizontal with this when it's at the top of the spring. That's pretty stinking good. That will work just fine. And if you want to double check that, you can simply roll it over this way and blow through this hole right here, and it'll blow. Raise it up. You can't blow through it. So there you are. Ugh, tastes like WD-40. That is done in there. We got two things we got to put on here. We have an O-ring that goes right there. It's going to be fun getting him to stay there, huh? And then the gasket itself, which goes on like this. Fits in that little groove all the way around there. And instead of trying to get this to stay on when I flip it over, I'm going to flip the carburetor over and set the bolt on it, so the gasket stays in place. Then I'll flip the whole thing back over, like so, and put the screws in. You got to figure out which ones they are. I think this is one of them. And this is not one of them. That's the bigger one. This is one. There we go. Tighten them up. If you hear people talking about CB carbs, this is a CB carb. CB stands for constant velocity. And what makes it one is this thing right here goes up and down in there separate from the butterfly. When you turn the throttle, you control the butterfly. But the vacuum coming in controls this. I'll give you an example of that here in just a minute. All right, now we're down to our accelerator valve, accelerator pump. And it goes in here. I'm not sure this is going to work because it is just so stinking hard that it may not be able to pump right. We'll bring that back out a touch. I'm going to slide this sweetheart in here. He goes right in this little hole here. And I should have put that on before I put the bowl on. Doggone it. Yep, we're going to take the bowl off because that's going to be easier. These screws are in bad shape, but I don't think I got any more of them here. I got some at work, but not here. Speaking of work, I changed work. I was a technical service manager for Suzuki for about almost 10 years. And I switched. I went to be a service manager at Donnell's Motorcycles in Independence, Missouri. So that's my day job. Then I make really super entertaining informational videos for you guys here at the house. Now one day I'll probably start making them at the shop too. I'll probably do that in the wintertime there because it's slow in the wintertime. Not as slow as it used to be because there's a lot of side-by-sides and stuff now. There, that's in there like it goes. Now we'll see if we can get all this to go back together without falling out of place. Slide our float pin back in there. There we go. And once again, we're headed in the right direction. I like Suzuki. They're great people to work for, great machines. I work for the motorcycle and ATV side and scooters, not the car side and not the boat motor side. Anyway, good people, good company, good products. It was just time for me to make a change. So I did. All right, now we can put our accelerator pump in. I want to put it in nice and easy and not push out that rubber part that I just put in there. And we'll work that down. There we go. Still got our rubber piece on there. Down in there like that. This spring goes in here, like so. Then this piece has a check valve in it, and so does the bowl. I blew air through it to make sure both of them worked. That's the check valve right there. You can see this passage from right over here goes down to that check valve. And they're both one-way valves, so it can actually pump fuel. If one is bad, no pumpy. This uses the smaller ones, but not the shortest ones. Everything kind of comes in threes for the most part on this carburetor. 3 to hold the bowl on, 3 to hold the fuel pump on. However, on the side it uses 2, and on the top it only uses 2. Flip this way, put this dummy cap on here. Does nothing but cover up this hole. It uses the shortest of the screws. Flip this baby up on its top. Put our little plastic piece in there. This doesn't really seal anything. Yeah, I guess it does a little bit, but not really. There's a passage back here that lets air flow through here and into that little chamber, and then it goes down through those little metering holes to the bottom end. Alrighty. That's our little seal. Now this has a lip on it. You can see right here. That goes up. Turn this around. So it's like that. It falls in. Spring. Whoops. And then the cap. This cap can go either way. You can figure out which way you want it to go. I always put it so when you're looking at the carb, you can read it. Looking from the back to the front. Don't know why. Doesn't really matter. It's just my thing. Pretty sure this is the way they were stock. Or OEM. And last but not least, we have this sweetheart. We got to put it in here, and here's our O-ring for it, but we do not have the washer for it. That's a problem. I'm going to see if I can find a washer for it. Sometimes it pays to be a hoarder. There is that washer. It's out of some parts I saved out of an old GL 1100 carb set. And then this O-ring is in pretty good shape. Not perfect. Pretty good. Get it down over the little ledge there. And we'll install this in here. And we'll tighten the screw up. This was 3.5 turns out. I'm going to start at 3 turns out. See what we get. Half, 1, half, 2, half, 3. And 3 seems like a lot to me, but it's still got good spring pressure, so it's not going to wander around on its own. There we go. We got a finished carburetor to put back in our sickle. All right, I'm going to give you the view from this side while I put it in from the other side, because I just don't have a super good way of showing this regardless of which side we're on. So we'll see if this is worse than the other way. You can see we got our air box really loose and floppy. That's a good thing. Got to get around the frame there, up over the crankcase vent. Boxy thingy down there. And then I'd really like for that to be sitting back in that boot. Come on. Ah, there we go. Now it'll sit back in the boot, and the clamp's already back in there, so that's good. Let's push this back, help slide it over the top of that. I am not pushing hard at the pry bar. It just makes it easier for me. But if you don't have an idea how hard something is to push, please do not use this method. It's pretty easy to tear something up, break something, whatever the case is. We'll slide it back forward and get it seated. I don't think it is yet. No, I don't think so. That side went in. Let me come around to your side. And I'm going to give it just a little love here and see if I can get it to pop in place. There we go. It's so much easier than a Rebel. I mean, way, way easier than a Rebel. This is the same engine used in the Rebel. I think I've said that before, the CMX250 Rebel. This is just a little twin. 250, obviously. But this being the CM250, CM250C, C is probably for custom, although our side covers are MIA, so we don't know that they say custom on them or not. But our tank does have stripes on it, so that probably makes it custom. Tighten that clamp up. We'll slide our other clamp. He used to have a clampy part at the top, and that suits me just fine. So we'll pull it back up to the top. We'll twirl it in place. You know, I gotta think about this air filter. I've got a couple of foam air filters over there, and I don't know if we can cut one of those up and make it work in this or not, but we are certainly going to give it a try. Oh, dang, I forgot to show you about the CB slide. If you take and blow air into the back of these, into the top part of it, it'll raise the slide as you blow air in, and that's simulating a low pressure area inside the carb venturi. Really, you're creating a high pressure area outside of it, but it does the same thing. Raises that sweetheart up. All right, we're clamped back on. Let's go to the other side and get our cables and such on. I got the door open on the garage here, and I got it open because it's just such a nice day. However, it does funky things to my light. So, with that said, that's why the light might be a little weird. Let's see, we need our choker cable. Do it first. It's right here. Comes back here, hooks into that one. Like so. We'll just leave it hanging there for right now because we need this bracket up here. And we'll get that out of the way, get this one started. Get it on the bell crank there. This goes down there on that tab, the carburetor, and the screw goes right there. So let me get my screw ready. That'll do that. Pull this back around. Get our pull cable put into the bell crank here. Oop, we got to go under our accelerator linkage. Thought it was looking a little bit too easy there. And that comes around run that nut up a little bit. Get it in its happy little home. Run this one up so it's touching, and then we'll see what kind of slack we got. Not too shabby, and we have an adjuster up on the handlebar, so if we need to change it, we can. I'll go ahead and snug this one down. And then we have the choke cable, which we probably should have done before that one. Yeah, probably should have. Whoopsie. Back up, in, get in your home, right there. There you go. You make a convenient hole in the frame to come down here and tighten that up. Back in the days when Honda actually thought about somebody's going to have to work on this thing someday. See if our choke works. It does. All right, carb is installed. Let's go ahead and do our clutch cable. Get our bracket head in the right direction. Now, why is everything going to be so obtuse? Can't you just work? There we go. Was that so hard? Guess it was. And this one. Let's see, battery. Put our battery holder down our back in here. All right, she's flowing fuel in. Let me go around to the other side and I'll hit the button and see if she'll do something. Key on, choke out, button in. That's not too bad. I like it. Wow. The vibration is my left, the rattling. I mean, she's still not a cream puff. There's more than a little bit of cracking in the tires. You can see it right there especially. But as I roll it around, you can see, you can almost see the air through those tires. Not quite, but almost. I sure as heck wouldn't trust it, I can tell you that. Now this was sitting in his garage, but at some point I think it sat outside some. But mostly in his garage. You can see a bunch of weather checking right there on the front tire. Right here. Got us a fork seal leaking. I mean, would it really be an old Honda if the fork seal wasn't leaking? Or just an old bike, that for that matter, if the fork seal's leaking. But listen to this sweetheart. That's pretty stinking good. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Well, this is not perfect by any means, but it will keep the grasshoppers and stuff out of it until we actually get a filter for it. So we'll hook up our crankcase vent line, which is doing nothing because it's venting to the atmosphere right now. But since it's supposed to be hooked up, we will hook it up like that, and that is not sufficient. Don't think that I think it is, because it's not. But it's better than nothing for now. Yeah, I'm pretty happy this old turd runs. I really am. All right, that's back together. Let's throw the fuel tank on it and get us a fuel line that doesn't kink and see what we get. Well, gas isn't super duper bad, it's just bad. All right, let me dispose of this fuel. Well, that kind of does it for this thing so far. We got it running well. Seems to run out all right. And we didn't do much more to it besides a carb cleaner threw a battery at it. The battery cost me about $35. So that's all we got in this thing is about $35. As far as parts goes, I got a gallon of gas in it. I guess we want to count that. But that's where we're at. Anyway, let me know. Bleep it down below in the comments. Let me know what you think. And like the video, dislike it, whatever you want to do. Leave a comment. I learned a lot about stuff in the comments and a lot about people in the comments. So feel free to leave a comment, good or bad, either one. Tell me what I did right, what I did wrong. I'm okay. I've got thick skin. I can take it. And I learn a lot. So with that said, thank you for watching. I hope you subscribe. And God bless you all.